We're so honored to have her, so delighted that she'll be performing. Ladies and gentlemen, Judy Lamppu.
Holly, which mic did I use? This is it? Oh, thank you.
Hello. Okay. Now the reason I do this song, Secret Love, she once said it was her favorite song of all the songs she'd recorded. Anyway, it's one of my favorites. I was going to do a one-woman show of all the best of Doris Day. My late husband's idea, he wanted to produce it because I had anecdotes to tell between the songs since I'd worked for her all during the Doris Day show. So he thought, what a great idea. Let's do a one-woman Doris Day show, and you can sing her songs and tell your little stories that you know about Doris. And I thought, that was a cool idea. So the first track I got together was Secret Love, and I started performing it. And I performed it a bunch of times because I participated in the Miss Senior California, Miss Senior America pageants. I'm a senior, in case you couldn't tell. So I haven't sung for a while, but I think it'll be okay. And let me see if I remember what we're doing here. Okay, it's off, power on, disc 2, and play. Hopefully it works. I hit play, come on.
There it is.
Once I had a secret love and lived within the heart of me. All too soon my secret love became impatient to be free. So I told a friendly star the way that dreamers often do, just how wonderful you are and why I'm so in love with you. From the highest hills, even told the golden daffodils. At last my heart's an open door, and my secret love's no secret anymore. Now I shouted from the highest hills, even told the golden daffodils. At last my heart's an open door, and my secret love's no secret
Great. That was lovely. That was so wonderful.
Thank
You had a seat right here.
Okay.
And try that other mic. You're talking.
Alrighty.
That was so nice.
Hello?
That was so nice. I
Okay.
guess we can talk at the same time. That was great. Wasn't it great? Another hand. So, were you singing on the set of the Doris station?
No, not. I wasn't doing that. Doris, in fact, one day I was driving her somewhere, and she said, I forget how it came up, but she asked me where was my favorite place to be, and I said in a recording studio, and she was shocked. She didn't know I did anything with music. I really didn't try
played
to.
it cool.
I did. I was very professional. I never told her what my aspirations, my dreams, what I wanted to do. I was her secretary. I did everything for her that she needed done, and I kept it separate, you know.
How did you get the job? You remember the...
I do, yeah. I was working for Procter & Gamble Productions, and they were the sponsor. And it was in Hollywood, and I worked there for 3 years. I worked for George Giroux and Dave Lawrence. Each in turn was president of the Television Academy. So I got to go to all the Television Academy balls, and I got to see Johnny Carson and Carol Burnett and Sammy Davis Jr. and Buddy Hackett and Lucille Ball. I got them all, they were all honored, and I got to be there and dress in a gown and have dinner with all the stars, and I just thought that was so cool.
Awesome. What are some of your favorite moments behind the scenes, or any anecdotes that you might have from the show?
The opening of my story with Doris is really a crazy one. When I worked for Procter & Gamble Productions, I got to know the secretary to the producer. Her name was Madeline Schreier, and she told me that there was an opening, that Doris Day was going to need a secretary. And I said, oh, I'd love to do it. So I went over and interviewed, and I wasn't working just for her. I was working for her, for Terry, and for Don Genson, who was one of the casting people, and he also was in charge of the scoring sessions. And
Terry, her son, was a producer, right?
Terry Melcher, right. He produced the Yardbirds and a bunch of people. And Billy James, I think, was one of his partners. He was a well-known music producer, too. And it was Arwen Productions, but she also had all her publishing companies. There were 4 of them, I think. And I wound up learning so much there because I worked for Don Genson, who did much of the casting. He did the breakdown. I had to do the breakdowns, call Jimmy Haskell, who set up the scoring sessions with a full orchestra for all the shows. They scored with a full orchestra. So I got to set up the scoring sessions. I did the contracts for the day players. I did all the contracts for the publishing. And I worked for Don Genson. I worked for Terry. I worked for Doris. But whenever Doris needed me, I dropped everything else and ran to her. So I should have been getting several salaries.
Sure.
But the day of my opening day on that job, there were plainclothes detectives running all over the place. And I thought, what the heck, is going on? And it was the day after the night of the Manson killings. And Terry Melcher was the target. And luckily he didn't live in that house anymore. But these detectives were all over the place, so it was kind of a crazy day for my start. And I had an unfortunate other connection to the other family that were killed by the Manson group. It was the LaBianco family. And my aunt and uncle were very close friends with them, so it was not a nice way to begin the job, but it worked out. Now, unfortunately, Don Genson, who was the guy I worked with on a regular basis and stopped whenever she needed me, he wasn't very nice. He was very difficult. And I don't think he was doing things that Doris would have approved of, and I just couldn't tell anybody. I just had to ride that fence, I kept my mouth shut, did my best for everybody, and never told her. I never was able to tell her. I didn't know if I should or if I could or what would happen. So anyway.
So you had a lot of discretion. I mean, and that's what kept you there.
Yeah.
And a lot of people don't understand, whatever your job, whether it's Hollywood or
Right.
accounting, discretion is so important. It is, what's that saying, discretion is the better part of valor?
Right.
So true.
But she was very interesting. Another little known fact probably is she had me learn her signature, and I'm very sorry to say I did a lot of autographs. So if you got an autograph from Doris, you couldn't be sure, because I really could nail her signature. And she knew it too. She approved. But
Well, maybe you can sign it in Pierre's book tonight.
I don't know if I even remember it, That's the only time
No, but just us.
That's the only forgery I ever did, and
Oh, fine.
it was with approval. But anyway, I had a lot of fun there. If she called me, I dropped everything. And I remember Ellenson and Paul were the head writers, and their secretary didn't like me. So I kept my distance. One day she wore hot pants to work, and I went, "We can wear hot pants to work? Wow." My father was a knitwear manufacturer, and he made knitted ones, so they were clingy. So I wore hot pants to work, and Abby Singer was our production manager, and he took one look at me and said, "You're not going down to the set. Not dressed like that, you're not." And I said, "Why? Valerie wears hot pants." "You're not going down to the set," he said. So I'm sitting at my desk, and Doris calls me down to the set. "Come on down, I want to dictate." I said, "I can't come down." "Why?" I told her. "You cut your butt down here," she said. So I went down to the set, and she said, "Oh, I love it. Can I have an outfit just like that?" I got her one just like it. My father made her one too. She was very cool.
And she had hot legs as well.
She
so.
was great.
I mean, she had one heck of a body.
She did exercise. She rode her bike all the time. She rode her bike all over Beverly Hills and collected
In
any
disguise or
No, and she'd collect all the stray dogs. And she'd go yell and lecture all the neighbors who were not keeping their dogs under control. She was just all over the place, rounding them up.
Now, we talked a little bit about this in the pre-interview, but someone on the set had actually asked you out, or did you want to address that? You don't have to. If you want.
Several people asked me out,
Oh, okay.
but the most well-known one was McLean Stevenson. And he kept on hitting on me, and I kept saying no. And finally, when I said I might go with him, I met the guy I was about to marry, and then I didn't go.
Oh, so I thought you did, but you never actually went.
I don't think I ever went. If I did, I really can't remember. But
So did you all have like holiday parties, or was it just a rap party, or what?
yeah, nothing. I don't think we had any huge celebrations that I recall. I really don't recall that.
What was the name of the actor who played her father?
Denver Pop.
Denver Pyle.
Denver Pyle on the farm.
Right. So, but he was there for like a season, 2 seasons.
Yeah, right.
What was he like? And he was not much
Oh.
younger or not much older than
Yeah, but it
Doris.
was the white hair and the
He
beard.
looked
and
it.
He looked it.
But I think he was only like 5 years.
2 years.
2 years.
Yeah.
How about that?
But he was a really great guy. I used to see him all the time and running up and down the streets in like Toluca Lake. He hung out with Barris. Is that the name of the custom car guy? George Barris. He used to hang out with George Barris all the time. He was into
The
cars.
Gong Show?
No, the other. No, this guy was.
The Batmobile, the Monster.
Yeah, this is the guy that made all
Oh.
the fancy cars. Denver Pyle used to like to hang out around his. I'd see him in the area all the time because he was into cars. He liked those crazy cars.
And then, of course, Doris had 2 children on the show, and one unfortunately died in a tragic accident, very young. And the other is what's his name?
Philip Brown.
Philip Brown. He is still working today.
Yeah, he does tons of commercials.
Tons of commercials. So that's nice to know that, like
Yeah.
a lot of child stars, they grow up on these shows, they have all this attention for 5 seasons or whatever. And, they're told that they're beautiful and that people love them 24 hours a day. And then when the show is over, there's no esteem that's based on any truth of a reality.
Well, that happens to a lot of the performers today. Look at people like Justin Bieber, all of a sudden they make it big and it goes to their head and they get crazy and they act out,
Right.
Is he here?
Yeah,
Justin,
so
how you
it's
doing?
not
Miley
a-
Cyrus.
yeah.
And I think that's why he
Yeah.
cried when he performed at the Grammys. He didn't expect all that adulation and
Yeah.
that love. He got a standing ovation.
Well, everybody will give you a second chance if you're sincere,
Exactly. Exactly.
Now, Terry used to always try to fix me up. He used to tell me, he told me he was going to fix me up with somebody who was well-heeled. And do you know that I did not know what that meant? I did not know. I was in my 20s. I don't know why I'd never heard the expression, but I really didn't. I thought, well-heeled. I couldn't even ask him. I was too embarrassed. What does that mean? Is he talking about heels? I never did have a clue, and he never did actually fix me up. But he did.
So what's it mean? Okay.
Rich.
Okay. Oh, well, I see.
Yeah, he was tired
That's
of
not
me
everything.
dating guys that didn't have a lot. And,
Mhm.
I did my own thing. I wasn't interested. But they did do something to me I wasn't happy about. I was told to deliver an envelope to Terry, who was hanging out with Sly and the Family Stone. And I was a secretary. I wasn't a delivery person. And they gave me this envelope and told me not to look in it.
Okay, now we are taping this.
I don't care.
Oh, okay.
Terry, first of all, sadly, Terry is no longer with us. So, And Doris had no part of this, so it had nothing to do with her. But I, of course, looked in the envelope.
And
And it said, don't look in the envelope.
It said it was $75,000 in cash. And I delivered it, and I went back to work,
I would have left.
and I told somebody that needed to hear it never to send me on such an errand again. I said, that's dangerous. I'm not doing stuff like that. If you want something like that done, you hire a messenger service. I'm not doing it. And it was really on the Doris Day show, not because of Doris, but because of Don Genson, that I learned to stand up for myself. I was working my ass off. I worked so hard. I did everything there was to do. I did it well. And Don Genson used to lose everything I gave him. And I learned to make 4 copies of everything, so when he asked me for it, I could have it. Then when he wasn't around, I'd dig on through his desk and I'd find him, you know? He was really a pain in the ass. He really was. And one day, my boyfriend came to take me to lunch, and Doris had called me to take letters. So I was in there taking a letter, and Don told him to leave. He was there with my car he told him to leave. When I came out, I threw such a tantrum. I threw a tantrum. Never before. I was sweet and kind and gentle.
which you are today.
But I wasn't then. And they never forgot it. And I was treated so great after that. I learned a lesson. You know what? You stand up for yourself,
Well,
you
of
show them
course.
you've got teeth, and people will treat you better.
Well, people treat you as you feel that you are worthy of being treated.
I
you know?
must have decided I was
So-
worthy.
Well, we're certainly glad that you showed up tonight.
I want to
And-
talk about Cosmo.
Oh, okay, Cosmo.
Remember, I told you. Coalition of Songwriter and Music Organizations.
Oh, yes, you're a nonprofit.
My late husband and I had started a 501c3, and I'm going to finish it, because we put on all kinds of events to help all kinds of people in the music industry. We would do something called Pitch a Song, where we get music supervisors on a panel. You could make connections, you could place your songs, you could get them in television and movies and stuff like that. This was on a small, intimate basis that you couldn't do any other way. There are all kinds of organizations that do it that are huge, and you never connect with anybody. But we fixed it so you could. And that's only one of the things that we did. And so I'm going to resume, and I'm going to continue doing that, because that was my late husband Steve's wish, and
Fantastic.
we're going to do it. Joel knows. He was good friends with Steve. That's how I met Joel. And we had a really good time, and we did a lot of good work in town. We're going to do more of it.
Wonderful. Let's have a nice hand. Judy Lamppu.